Good morning. Welcome to Life's Dream number 22, Sci-Fi Musical. I thought we would just start outside for a minute listening to the Sparrow Choir. And we'll go in and hear another bird, the seagull, the seagull choir. Good morning, everyone. Do you have your coffees?
Good morning. So this is a song I performed already on one of these streams April 10th, specifically for my friend and our friend John Prine. And it's about oneness, but I don't want you to think for a minute that Holly and I are not steeped in this fight for justice and equality. In fact, for the last 11 years, very acutely, we've been involved with a nonpartisan organization fighting just for that. So just because we're doing this song, and because I think today, and especially this hour, I'm going to offer works of the healing kind. I hope that's okay with everyone. Just weeps with joy. Oh, I love that. The word universe just weeps with joy. The universe just weeps with joy when every mother's girl and every father's boy lives in this world as one. In paradise, a pair of hearts are one, but not only two are one. The world of hearts are one in paradise. A pair of eyes, look out and see one world as one, and then we realize that you and I and everyone and everything is one. And then fear and anger's song is gone, and only love is sung in paradise. Like a raindrop falling into the ocean, it already is what it will become. And when we part and our part is done, we will still be part of one. We are raindrops falling into the ocean. into the ocean. It already is what it will become. And when we part, and our part is done, we will still be part of one. 'Cause we are all just raindrops falling back into the ocean.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Virtual hugs to everyone out there.
Story time. I'm excited about this one. So, my friend James Lee Stanley and I, in 1976, started working on a musical, a science fiction musical. We finished it, all the songs and the script in 1978, and then the actor you might know, William H. Macy, when I submitted it to various theaters, somehow found it, gave me a call and said he wants to direct this musical. And so he came over to my house, and we spent quite some time together talking about it, and we got James Lee in on the call. And I think one day when William H. Macy came over, James was here in Chicago, because James is from California. And then we started working on it with Bill Macy, and then he got a call to New York. And the next thing we saw was all these big movies, but the project was dropped. Well, if you remember the story of Holly and Little Richard, when Little Richard actually stayed...
Hi.
Oh, hi, she's waving. When Little Richard actually stayed with Holly and her brother Gary in an apartment that Holly and Gary shared for a week, Gary was always so nice to me and really supportive of chamber blues and all the projects. And when he heard this tape, at the time he heard the tape, he was working with Tennessee Williams, directing a play for Tennessee at the Goodman Theater. And he offered this tape of all James Lee and my songs for the play to Tennessee Williams. Tennessee Williams fell in love with it. Gary said that he played it all day. Every day he played the tape. And then he said, Tennessee wants to see the script. So I went ahead and mailed the script to Tennessee Williams. And then I get a call saying, Tennessee Williams would like to work on finishing the play with you and James for production. And of course, James and I said, please, let's do it. And then Tennessee died. And a few years later, Gary died. What's interesting is the play they were working on at the Goodman Theater.
The last play that they were to do.
Yeah, the last play Tennessee wrote, the last play Gary directed was called A House Not Meant to Stand. So I thought I would just add that.
That's pretty profound.
Profound. So here's the story. It's called The Buttonwillow, a science fiction musical. So the story actually takes place over a span of almost 1,000 years. So I'm going to do the short version, and I wrote it out. I'm just going to read it to you guys because that way I could assure this is not going to take 3 hours. Okay. A group of people with special skills and knowledge saw the underlying plight of the earth, and it was not reversible, they realized. In the hopes of finding a livable place in the universe, they selected a group of pioneers who set out on a secret one-way journey on a starship which would later be called the Buttonwillow to preserve humankind. After almost 900 years in cryogenic sleep, as the search was guided by computers, the pioneers awakened to find themselves landing on a beautiful, exotic landscape they later called the planet Juno. The first thing they did was try to drill for oil, but oddly, the stainless steel drill bits not only couldn't penetrate the sand-like soil, but on immediate contact, they broke. Yet, the pioneers could dig into the soil very easily with their hands. Quickly, they found that the science on Earth did not apply to this planet. At first, the planet seemed hostile, but eventually they learned how to listen to the voices of nature and were eventually able to live in a beautiful and joyful harmony with this exotic planet. There was also something in the atmosphere that enhanced and exaggerated the personalities and characters of each individual. A great scenario for a playwright. The society grew to become widely diverse. The brave people were extremely brave. The curious people were extremely curious. The funny people were extremely funny. And everyone was extremely peaceful and joyful. Some of the older people who came from Earth were extremely homesick and wanted to go back, even though they expected the planet Earth to be unlivable. They were earthborn, and they were drawn. Some youngsters born on Junar were irresistibly curious adventurers, and they wanted to join the homesick elders. But it was risky for all of them because they left Earth as a dying planet. Now, the beginning of this song, Buttonwillow, that James and I wrote, takes place on Juno as a starship is, I should say, when we wrote the song, The Buttonwillow, it wasn't going to be a play. But at one point, James and I had written 2 songs. We went, these songs are not 2 songs, this is a whole musical. And this was the first song we wrote. So the song Buttonwillow takes place on Juno, the new planet, as a starship, the Buttonwillow, is waiting and ready to head on another long and dangerous journey, but this time back to Earth. Pirouette. Where the Buttonwillow River winds through Onanawa County, and the moons of June hour shine to light my sweet Yvonne's way. Amid the meadow fern, the starship Buttonwillow waits. Nearly a millennium, and now it is the day, and we'll board the Buttonwillow, and we'll cry, and aboard the Buttonwillow, it's a silver river ride, flowing home. 1,000 years ago, we left our worn and weary earth. Through time, through space, our search for June hour brought us to this day. Beneath the midnight amber glow, we'll gather in the shadow and slip into our earth-born cradles, deep sleep drifting toward Milky Way. And we'll board the Buttonwillow, and we'll glide, and aboard the Buttonwillow, it's a silver river ride, flowing home. Under earthlight, memories return of a faceless moon and a starless sky, and treeless and windswept treeless plain. And now the Buttonwillow glides to land in fields of flowers. Learn to live in peace with earth this time. This time we really know the way, and we'll board the Buttonwillow, and we'll glide, and aboard the Buttonwillow, it's a silver and we'll board the Buttonwillow, and we'll glide, and aboard the Buttonwillow, it's a silver river ride, flowing. So basically, that song covers the whole script of the play. It tells the whole story. So, we're still on June now. And a group of youngsters who were born on the planet Junar are asking the elders what it was like on Earth when they left. Once upon a time and place, there existed deep in space the birthplace of the human race. A long, long time ago, it was a land of milk and honey, paradise, the horn of plenty. We wanted to trade it all for money. A long, long time ago, Mother Nature gave us her advice. Don't fool with me, it isn't nice. We blew it more than once or twice. A long, long time ago. Oh no, oh no, say it isn't so, say it isn't so. Oh no, oh no, say it isn't so, say it isn't so. The birds would cough when the dust would blow. If we ate too fast, we might even glow. And Mary kicked the bucket when her garden wouldn't grow. Long, long time ago. From Atlantic to Pacific, no disease was too specific. Doctors had it so terrific. Long, long time ago. The dove of peace took a kamikaze dive. Still they sang, we will survive, while the cucarachas waited to eat us alive. A long, long time ago. Oh no, oh no, say it isn't so, say it isn't so. Oh no, say it isn't so, say it isn't so. Every power was devoured, every blossom was deflowered, the whole darn Milky Way turned sour. A long, long time ago. Sing it. The whole darn Milky Way turned sour.
A long time ago.
So imagine we wrote that in 1976.
So prophetic.
Okay, so there were two characters on Junar. One who boarded the starship Buttonwillow. Oh no, wait. The two characters that were on Junar who had boarded the starship Buttonwillow by mistake when it left Earth. What should I do?
Scoot over.
Scoot over. Okay. My
you.
director, and by the way, I should tell you that everyone has been complaining to me that we need to see Holly more. So next week, Holly's got a story, an amazing story that she has not told people.
No.
And she's reluctant to tell it, but she's going to tell it next week about her vacation, 2-week vacation in Key West with Tennessee Williams. But later for that. So, there were two characters on the planet Junar who boarded the starship Buttonwillow by mistake as it was leaving Earth. One was a Swiss immigrant in a wheelchair, and the other an African immigrant who was blind. Serendipitously, they met each other on Junar, and from a distant and combative relationship, they developed a deep friendship and surprisingly became spiritual mentors. The song that James and I wrote took maybe 3 months, 6 months, trying to poetically describe a person in a wheelchair and a blind person was a beautiful challenge. So here, I'm just going to give you the lyrics to the song. Greeley and Flo, that's their names. Greeley and Flo, together they go, always a part of each other. To share is to love is to know that no one can make it alone. Greeley wakes up early in the morning. She finds her clothes. She don't turn on the light.
She's blind.
The song will tell them that.
Okay.
But thank you for... So, Greeley wakes up early in the morning. She finds her clothes. She don't turn on the light. She feels her way into the kitchen, puts the water on to boil, and listens as her friend lays sleeping. Flo stares at the rising sun and stretches. She lifts herself into the waiting chair, wheels her way into the kitchen, pours 2 cups of steaming coffee, and watches as the light fills Greeley's empty eyes. Nearly every afternoon can find them strolling, gently rolling through the park. Greeley's legs will move the chair. Flo's eyes will see everywhere. So they share a world that neither has alone. When I'm coming home from work, I see them. Yet I've never stopped to say hello. But sometimes I just can't help but wonder, would the world be much better off if only half of us could walk and only half could see? So, so talk about we are in this together.
Sorry.
So this last song that I'm going to play, as I understand, was Tennessee Williams' favorite. And the song in the play is being sung by the characters Greeley and Flo. So, and I'll tell you more about it when I'm finished. Pirouette.
He's a dancer.
This healing stuff can be pretty heavy. If we never learn to give, we'll be facing emptiness. If we never learn to live, there won't be much to miss. If we never learn to die, all the sooner death will come. If we don't learn to love, the sky will fall. You know it's so hard to treat everybody just the same when we all are so different. Playing different games, but you know, I don't really think that it matters so much at all. 'Cause if we don't learn to love, the sky will fall. Showing a face that's one of impassion, falling from the space of love, never offering a trace of heartfelt compassion, falling from the grace of love. So we'll just save all our money for that rainy day, 'cause you know it's coming soon. Soon we'll have to pay. That ain't the kind of saving that's gonna save us at all. We better learn to love. The sky will fall. Yeah. It's a little message song.
Yes.
So, I want to say that the song The Sky Will Fall and the song One, I did arrangements for both of them for Chamber Blues. They're both on the Different Voices album.
Yes.
And the subscribers to the newsletter, I hate to be a marketing genius here, but the subscribers to the newsletter, well, let me just explain. So when I was doing live performances,
A long time ago.
yes, I used to pitch my recordings from the stage, and I would say, ladies and gentlemen, I really want you to have this Different Voices Chamber Blues record with the song One on it and Sky Will Fall. And so please, I want to let you know that I've provided, well, I know you guys have friends, so maybe you don't want to just buy one CD. So I've provided enough CDs, I brought enough with me, that each of you could purchase 5. And I'll tell you, people were coming up and saying, "Oh, Corky, I'm so sorry. I could only think of 4 friends right now,
That's really true.
or 3 friends, and I'm only going to buy 4 CDs." I swear to you, people were buying multiple CDs, which is exactly why I do what I do. I want people to have it.
Correct.
You know? Okay, so now for the subscribers to the newsletter, if you go through the newsletter, and there's a link on there, it tells you how to get 2 for the price of 1. I thought that would help, you know? But again, my intention was to get these CDs in people's hands. That's what I wanted. And so when I was thinking about making this pitch to you guys today about the CD, which I want to show you, is what I'm going to do, is I sign the date here, I put the date here, and then I sign my name here. And the point is that leaves space. So if I say, you know, June 2nd, 2020, and I write Corky Siegel, and then here you could say, like if your name is Jane Doe, you could say, to my friend Sally from Jane. And wow,
So clever.
so clever.
This one is so
and you
clever.
get 2 of them, so you keep one for yourself, or you could buy 5. But I just have to share this. What I realized this morning when I was writing all this stuff up and deciding what I was going to tell you is that I purchased 3,500 of these things for my friends.
You got a lot of
What can I tell
friends.
you? So that's what I wanted to say. So 2 things. We're going to take a little bit of time to set up a Zoom. Let me see what time it is. We're doing good. So we're going to, hopefully at noon, anyone who wants to join this, well, first of all, I have to say, I'm going to, after the Zoom conference, go back and look at all your comments.
Indeed.
And answer all of them. It usually takes me about an hour to do that. But instead of doing it right after this, I'm going to go right to Zoom while Holly is getting lunch ready. And then after the Zoom, I'll go back and do the comments. So, and make sure everyone who isn't signed up for the newsletter do so. It's really important to me. I can stay in touch with everybody. So I'm going to say goodbye now. Holly and I will say goodbye. Say goodbye. How should we do it? Where's the double tap? Double tap. There we are. There we are. We're going to say goodbye. And then go right over. Oh, Zoom. How do you get to the Zoom? You go to.
You better tell nobody else somebody don't know.
Go to corkymusic.com/stream. corkymusic.com/stream. Or you just go to my website and go to the menu where it says live stream. And if you go to the performance page, which is corkysiegelmusic.com/stream, there is a link.
It will be fun to talk to all of
Yeah,
you. And you can talk to each other, too.
Yeah, that's the main idea of the Zoom, is so you could talk to each other. And some of the early people that sign on, if you're an expert on Zoom, I'm going to turn the hosting over to you so you can control everything.
Correct.
But anyway, go to the site. There's a link there. There's a meeting code and a passcode. And everything is right there for you to go to Zoom. I'm going to go over to the other computer now. We're going to finish this. Love to you both, Norman. And we're going to press the finish button and go over to Zoom. corkymmusic.com/stream.
Stream.
Bye, everyone.
Stream, stream, stream.